Hey guys, welcome back. If you are a returning subscriber, you're welcome back, and if you are a new subscriber, you are welcome to Train Check YouTube channel. So in the previous video, we talked about LINQ in C Sharp, language integrated query in C Sharp. But in this video, we will be building a mini console application, making use of all what we've learned so far to build the console application. So we'll be building a to-do list, a console application, a to-do list console application. So we'll be making use of everything we've learned from the beginning of this tutorial up to the previous video, which is language integrated query. So we'll be making use of everything we've learned to build this to-do list, to-do list with console application in C Sharp. So let's get started. Like I said, we'll be building a console application, a to-do list application, making use of all what we've learned so far. So let's get started. Um, so let me clear all this. Let me delete all this. Yeah, I'll delete these two and have a clean project. So now we have a clean project. So building to-do list console application. So now we've talked about a lot of things. We've discussed basically all what you need to know in C Sharp. If not all, but with the language C Sharp or the console application, we've actually talked about them. So we'll be making use of that. So what we need to do now is we'll be creating a class. So I'll be creating a class called to do. So it's loading the templates. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Why is it taking so long to load? I don't know why it's taking so long to do. Okay, yeah. Starts load already. So I'll be creating a class called to do. To do or to do list. Anyhow you want to put it. You can call it to do or you call it to do list. Let me just name it to do list. So to do. So like I said, internal is within the it will work within this assembly. Within this assembly, internal. Assuming you want to access it in an external assembly, you have to make it public. But since it's still within this assembly, you can leave it as internal or you just change it to public. Anyhow. So what do I need to do now after creating a to-do list class? I have to define the properties of a to-do. So what properties do a to-do always have? So I have to create the properties. I have to define the properties of what? Of a to-do. I have to define the properties for to-do. So one, I will say the to-do list needs to have an ID, right? It needs to have an ID. So I'll make use of integer as the ID. So public int ID and then get and set. I believe I've explained all this in the previous video. So if you've not actually watched the previous video, you can go through them and watch it so that you can understand everything we've talked about so far. So after ID, what else do we to do list need to have? You need to have a title. Your to do list need to have a title. So public string title. It needs to have a title. So basically, after title, what does your to-do list need to have again? It needs to have description, obviously. Description. Also, after description, you need to have a due date for your to-do list. You need to have a due date for your to-do list. So I'll be using date time as the due date. I'll be using date time as the data type for the due date, because obviously date is should be in date time format. We can't actually use a string. So we can use a string, but we have to make use of a date time, since we have a date time property in C sharp. So date time will now be due dates, due dates. Obviously, after due date, we also need to have a priority. We need to have a priority. So our to-do list needs to have what? Needs to have priority. We can use a string as the priority. Say we just want to define, let's say we want to limit the value the user can input as a priority. We can just use an enum, because our priority needs to be either high, medium, or low, right? And you can also use a string. So using a string, you have to do a lot of validations to check whatever the user inputs, either it's part of the available priority level or not. So, but let me just, I feel I should show us making use of a string and making use of an enum, but let me just make use of an enum directly. So for us to actually make use of enum, so you can actually make use of an enum, right, for your priority. So enum is just like, enum is used when you want to hold, like four different values, or when you want to make use of four, let's say, okay, transaction status in a transaction. Transaction status can either be completed, approved, decline, all those values, right? Same thing with priority level. Priority level can either be high, medium, or low. So you want to cater for three different say values in one different in a single thing. Let's say priority level, now it can be either be high, medium, or low, and you want to hold three values, or anything more than two values. If it is just two values, you can either use boolean, which is true or false. But since it's more than two values, you have to use enum. Anything that is more than two values, that you want to hold up to like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values, you have to just use enum to represent the value. So it will just be public enum. I guess I just have to, yeah. So let me just take this guy out of here. So I will define the priority level somewhere else. Yeah, so I'll just say, once I create it, priority pri prior okay, sorry, priority. No. Priority priority level. Priority levels, yeah. So and then um completed. So completed is, like I said, completed can either be yes or no, or true or false. So since it's just two value you wanna hold, yes or no, either it is completed or it is not completed. Yes or no, true or false. So completed will be representing completed as a boolean. Will be representing completed as a boolean. So completed can either be what? Can either be true or false. It's either it is completed or it is not completed. Do you understand? So that is that for that. So I guess I should just put my enum, yes, public enum um priority priority. can just put the enum here directly inside the space. I wanted to go and create it out of the class before, but since this class can actually hold it, let me just put it here directly. So you can see the value has changed. You can see the it has changed from zero, from showing error to showing the, you can see, since I've created the priority, the enum value here. So the data type here will hold the enum I just created. So it's like us creating our own data type to hold it as enum. So that's just it. You can see it has changed to priority. So now I can now define the priority value. So I can have high, medium, and low, the values I want. So this is how to create, declare an enum and make use of an enum in C sharp. You can see. So this value is either the person inputs is either high, medium, or low. Then we can make use of a validation to check whatever the user inputs if it is different from these three values we've declared here. So you can see the value starts from zero, but in database context, I say priority, sorry. In database context, enum is represented as what? As integer. You can see whenever you are saving an enum value to the DB, it is represented as what? As an integer. So that's why you can see I is starting from zero. But if you want your I, the first value to start from one, you have to explicitly declare it here as one. So you will see I is now what? One, medium is now what? Two, and low is now what? Three. And if you want it to start from two, you can declare it here. I will now be what? Will now be two, medium will now be three, low will now be four, depending. But if you do not specify any value for it, it will just start from what? From zero, basically. So that is, we will see that when we are dealing with database. But since this to-do list we want to make use of an in-memory, a list as an in-memory, because we've talked about lists, we've talked about a lot collections and stuff like that. So we want to make use of list as an in-memory. So list is what we'll be using to save any to-do list we are adding or we add. You understand? So list will be our database in this project before we now move to the framework side, and then before we start using the real DB to represent our program. So yeah, so I'll just let it start from one here. So obviously we do not need it, basically, because we are not saving to DB. So we won't actually use this, but I just want to leave it like that. So that is that for that. So we've declared our entity. So this to-do list is like an entity, the to-do entity. So we've declared the entity and we've declared the properties. Assuming I think, yeah, like if you want to use the DB now, this is what we will use to create the DB name. I said the DB name, the table name, where all these to-do lists will be saving in the database. This will be the table name, and this will be the columns in the database. This will be all the columns we will be having in the database. You understand? Yeah. So, but since we are using list as in memory, since we are using list as the in memory database, we won't be. Let's just go get down into it. So now we've declared our entity, we've declared the to-do list entity and everything we need to do here. So now going back to program class. So the first thing we need to do now is what? If we launch this, you just see that it's just empty application, because we are here to define anything in the program class. Obviously, it's still an empty application. There is nothing here yet. So we need to design. We even have a build error. What's the build error about? Yeah, okay. There is nothing in the obviously nothing in the program does not contain a static main method suitable for an entry point. So obviously there's nothing in the program class. Yeah, so let's just, this should not be the reason why it should not launch. Let's see. Okay. Okay, yeah. So let me just do something like CW. Sorry. CW. Hello world. Let's see. Let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen. Okay, yeah. So it's because we don't have anything in the program class to run. That is why we are having the build error. Because I tried to launch or run the application, but there is nothing the applications want to run in the program class. That is why we are having the build error before earlier. Yeah, so obviously this is a plain application, like I said. We just need to start developing our UI. So at least for you to make use of a to-do list application or a to-do application, you can see the hello world we just launched. So for you to make use of a to-do application, you have to see an interface. You have to interact with an interface, right? You have to edit a to-do if I want if I want to, you understand what I'm trying to say. So what we have to do what we have to do now is to build our interface. What we want to be interacting with to operate or to make use of the application. So that is what we have to do now. So I'll be starting with a okay. So let me just start with this. So CW, so console.write. I'll say train check to do list. No, train check to do. Let me just name it train check to do. So let me put the same value I put here. So train check to do. If I launch this now, you will see just like us building an interface, like a web interface, that's what I want to do. So you can see train check to do. You can see. So I guess I can just increase this guy with this and this. Just want to make it look beautiful. Okay. I don't want to be. So it's okay. Just for the purpose of the project of the video, I don't want the video to be too long. Yeah. So train check to do. Yeah. So CW. Just want to. So I'm using this CW just to leave an empty space. You understand? So now, what do we have to do? We have to define, okay, what are the methods we want to have for the to do? Okay, we want to be able to add, right? We have to create an interface for add. We want to be able to add, we want to be able to edit, we want to be able to view, we want to be able to delete, and we want to be able to exit the application. So, one, we want to be able to add. So, you have add to do. Want to be able to add to do. So obviously I'll be um saving the number one as what as add to do. So two as what as edit to do. Three as what delete to do. Sorry. Three as delete to do. Four as view all to do. Let me just put it like that. So after we are able to add, edit, delete, view, what other thing do we need to do? What other thing do we need to do? Probably exit. Let me just put exit. So if we don't want to do anything, we have to just exit the application. So let me just put exit there. So. Sorry, exit, not exist. Yeah, so if we launch this now, You can see. So obviously this is just, you can see we can't perform any other action. I'm just doing it step by step so that we can see what we are building. So train check to do one, you can see either select one to do what, to add to do, select two to do what, to edit to do, select three to delete to do, select four to view all to do, and select five to exit the application. So we are moving forward. So what other thing do we need to do? We also need to do what, to be able to collect the users what, the users input. We need to be able to collect what, the users input. So collect users input and process it to do what, to perform the next possible action. So how do we collect the users input? If the user inputs one, okay, I want to add to do one, I have to collect it, process it, and then take them to the next page. So how do we do that? And we also need to do what, this needs to keep coming. I don't know how to put it, to keep coming. What if the user just inputs one and then go, and then they now want to come back to this particular page, or we are done adding their to do, we need to what, to bring them back to this particular page to say, okay, now you are done adding your to do, now you can go ahead and view your to do, or you can edit your to do, or do whatever thing you want to do. Understand? Yeah. So I will need to wrap this guy in what, you know, this now, with this, once I just launch this, the application stops, right? So there is nothing to keep the application running so as for us to be able to accept the user's inputs. So how do we keep the application running while we accept the user's inputs? I'll just make use of a while loop. So while they are still yet to take any action, the application should keep running. You understand? So I'll just say while, let me just say while true. Let me put it like this first. So let me say while true. Let's say we will not run into an infinite loop. I know we will definitely run into an infinite loop. So how do we now stop? How do we stop this guy from running into what? Into an infinite loop. So while true, let me leave this guy at the top. I want to always see this guy. I want to always see the guy at the top, no matter what we are doing. Okay. I want to always see this guy at the top. Just, just stay there. Just stay there. So for us to be able to collect the user's inputs now, and move forward to the next possible action. Let's say once the user click on one to add to do, we go to the method to add it to do, and then and so on and so forth. So what we just need to do is have a read line. Have a read line to do what? To process whatever the user inputs. Have a read line to process whatever the user inputs. So the read line is what we will use to accept the user's input. Understand? The read line is what we will use to process whatever the user inputs, and then whatever the user want to do. So let me just put the read line somewhere down here. Console dot read line. So read line is used to accept, I believe I've explained this in our previous video, obviously. So read line is used to accept users inputs. You can see we are not we've we are, the infinite loop has stopped because of what? Because we are waiting to accept users input. You can see. So this will accept whatever the user want to input. You understand? This will accept the user's input and process it, because right now there is no variable to process the user's input. Even though the user input anything, it will still keep coming. because we've not processed whatever the user is inputting. You can see we've not actually processed whatever the user is inputting at this particular time. You can see just keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. So instead of us running into an infinite loop, once we have to do a condition check to see if the person inputs what is not among the available options, and then tell them, oh, you've not input the correct option. So you see, to just keep coming, to just keep coming. So let's continue. Let us continue. So yeah, so basically this supposed to be what? This supposed to be a switch case. Basically, it's supposed to be what? It's supposed to be a switch case. So this is where I'll be putting the read line, and I'll be having a variable called um string, or let me just name it in. Should I name it in? Should I name it string? Let me name it string. Let me use string. I mean string option, or if I want to change it to whatever, I can change it to whatever back. String option. So whatever option I input, whatever the input here will be assigned to this value called string option. So whatever they input to this whatever they input here will be assigned to what? To this option. So if they input 1, the option will be 1. If they input 2, option will be 2. If they input 3, option will be 3. So this guy here needs to be what? Needs to be a switch case. So it will now be switch option. So case 1. So how should I actually go about this? Let's say should I do this? Okay, let me do this. I want to look at the way to actually go about this without. Let me first do this switch. Okay, option. So case start with case 1. So it's saying so I just need to, let me do this first, and then break out of the case. So because I'm using string, obviously we have to represent the case 1 as what? As string. Assuming I'm using int, I will have to represent, you can see it's even showing me this blah blah blah. I will have to represent this guy as int, but since I'm using string as the option, I will have to represent this guy as what? As string. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? So what will happen is, okay, let me just show us this testing. So I might have to do let me just run this and show us. Oh, sorry, my bad, my bad, my bad. This guy should not be at the top, because it will prevent this this all this from showing. My bad. This guy should be here. So you can see. So if you input one, you will see what will happen. You can see testing, it shows testing, and then what still display this guy is back. So if you see one, you can see it shows testing, and because that is what I defined for what for one. Like if you click one, it shows what testing. So obviously, uh, for us to be able to do a better for this not to show back, and for us to be able to add, we have to define the method to do what to add. So I just do this for us to see how it works. So now what we need to do now is to create a method for adding to do. So I'll just come down here and say, and just create a class called method. Basically I just want to separate things here. So just create a class called method. So can leave it internal since it's still within the same assembly. So I'll just say it's a static class with obviously static methods. So public static add to do. So what this add to do will be accepting, obviously add to do. Okay. So I have to. So what's the return type for this? For this, should it be a void class, or should it return string? Obviously, to be a void class, it's not returning anything. So what would be the parameters this add to do will be accepting? It needs to accept what this to do. If not accepting this to do, or obviously it needs to accept this to do. So what this method will be doing is what it will be adding this particular this, how will I put it? It will be adding this the particular input, the user input, to the list of to-dos we are having. So what I will do here now is I will have to define a static list of to-do. Do you understand? I will have to define a static list of that. That is what we'll be using as our DB. So I will have something like lists, um, to-do lists, to do. I'll just name it to do list DB. Let me just name it like that. So obviously it has to be a static, list. So I can decide to actually put it down in the program class and then pass it down here anytime we want to use it for easy access, or since I can just say it should be inside this method. So depending, let's see how it goes if I will have to change it later. But for now, let's just make use of it like this. So what do we need to do? We need to be able to add the to-do coming in into this to-do list DB, right? So what do we have to do now? We have to do just have to say either ways. Either we do this, okay, let's say can obviously just say, so if you click on this, I would say why, let me make use of it, while loop. right through. So I'll say string. Should I even make use of string, or I should make use of this? So make use of, okay, CW, um enter title. So for you to save anything, you have to first enter your title, and it will now be to do dot title equals console dot read line. You can see, move on to the next one, CW, enter, what else, title description, then something like this too will follow. This will follow. No, it won't be, sorry, it won't be title this time around, it will be description. So next thing, let me just copy this guy so I don't save time. So enter description. What else? Can't even remember what I defined here. Enter, okay, this will automatically add itself. Enter title, enter description, enter due date, enter due date. Okay, due date now. So it will now have to, sorry, due date, enter due date. So this will actually give us error. You can see, because it was because read line is accepting a string. So what we have to do is something, we have to do a validation to make sure whatever they are inputting can be converted to a date time. So to make sure whatever they are inputting can be converted to a date time. So try how do I even use this guy? Try pass. Why not saying try pass here? Oh, sorry. This time dot dot try pass. So try pass is accepting. Is expecting a value that can be accepted, and then try to pass it out as a date time. So if it can successfully pass it out as a date time, that means the value is a date is in a correct date time format. But if there's any error trying to pass it out as a date time, we should tell the user that, oh, what you imputed cannot be passed as a date time format, impute another value. So something like that. So, and pass it out as what, as as let me just say out as date time, or I'll have to things like this. I'll just have to, let me do this. Yeah, I just remembered now. So I will have to do this. Do and say value out. Say value out. So I can say I want to pass it out as this guy. So here it will still give me an error. You're getting there. You can see read line next of character, blah 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 blah, standard repeats. Obviously, this will still give me an error. So what do we actually need to do? So if I use try If I pass, it will still be exactly the same thing. So obviously what I just need to do is, what if I'm unable to pass this guy? You can see cannot implicitly convert type bool to date time. So what if it is unable to convert this guy, this read line out? What if it is another value that is being imputed and it cannot convert it out as date time? What should happen at that particular time? So that's why it is telling us cannot implicitly convert type bool, because it is a boolean. It is either it can pass it out, it is either true or false. What if it cannot pass it out as date time? What should happen? What should happen? So if it cannot pass it out as date time, let me just refactor this. Let me refactor this guy. So I'll do something like, if you can see, now we are not seeing the error again. So if that means if it can pass it out as what, as date time, then just come down here and assign the value to it. Just come down here and assign the value to it. Obviously we are good to go. We are good to go. So if enter due date time, and then we already define the value that we want it to be passed out as value out, and then we try pass whatever input the user inputs, try pass it out as what, as a date time format. And then if we are successful, if we can pass it out successfully, that means it is a correct date time value. Then do what? Pass it out for us. Assign the value to this to this due date. We are good to go. Else, if we cannot pass it out as what? As a correct date time format, what should happen? What should happen? We should tell them that we should user that basically tell the user that, oh, what you imputed here is what is wrong. Oh, kindly do what? Um kindly impute another value so that we can be able to process it. Something like that. So let me just say, should I say else? Or how should I go about this? Let's see. Let's test run this guy. Um so I'll just say, kindly impute your value in this is becoming too long in this format. I don't want this video to be too long. This video is getting too long in this format. In this format, let me just say something like 2025 01 10. So something like this. So we show them this error and then tell them to enter the due date again. So I obviously okay. Let's see how this works. Let's see how this. So I'm yet to pass in this guy. Yeah. So sorry. Can I stop this debug? Oh, sorry. Let it run. I don't want to use this now. I need to. So I only declare the method. Only I only created the method inside this class. I need to pass it down in this program class. So if the user inputs one, what should happen? They should be able to I should be able to call this method and obviously pass in to-do lists. Oh yes, so now this is where the issue is. So obviously I think I will just have to adjust this guy. So I see no reason why I'm passing this guy in here. Sorry for that. I should have just done something like to-do lists to do equals new to-do lists. So this solves the issue. I should have just done something like this. My bad. Sorry. So yeah, this will definitely stop giving us error. You can see. Then we are good to go. So let's run this guy. So if I input one, you can see. Let me stop. Let me rerun this. If I input one, you can see, yeah, I have enter title, right? Testing, let's say testing to do. You can see enter description, trying to figure out if date time will work, to figure out if date time validation will work. Enter due date. Oh sorry, if due date, enter due date. So let me try something like, let me enter an incorrect value for due date and see what will happen. You can see, so now, yeah, our validation was correct. So incorrect date time value, kindly input your value in this format. Our validation was correct, but the only issue now is what? It now takes us back to what? To enter title, which is not supposed to be it. And the reason is because I use an if else condition. So you can see we've entered title, enter description, enter what? Enter due date, but we entered an incorrect due date format, right? Then we got the error message, incorrect due date value. Kindly input your value in this format, right? Correct. It's now supposed to prompt us to input the right value back, not go back to enter title. If I go back to this now, it will start coming description, this, you can see, go back to title again, which is not supposed to be. So now, how do we correct that? So how do we correct that? We just come down here, instead of making use of, obviously, making use of, I think it's because of this guy I used here. So I guess I can just use a while loop. Let's see. Uh, so while should I say do? No. This is not correct. Sorry. So it should be while true, then this should be this. So if the value the user input, if you are able to pass it as a date time, then if the value the user input is the correct date time and we're able to pass it, try it and pass it, we pass it out as the value out, which is the date time value. Else, then if we're able to pass it out as this time value, we will assign the value out to the due date and then break out of the loop. So break out of the loop. So once we break out of the loop, then we can continue the program. But else, if it is not a correct date time value and we are unable to pass it out, it will then come back to this else statement and say incorrect date time value. Kindly input your value in this format. Then prompt them to enter due date again. So the reason why we're having the issue before is because I'm just using an if else statement. So Once this if else statement run, there's nothing to prompt them back again to re-enter the value. You understand? So that is why we're having that issue. But since it is I've nested it inside a while loop, so if we are unable to pass the value the user inputs in this read line, if we are unable to pass it out as a date time value here, we will then prompt them to it will come back to this else statement and then tell them they entered an invalid datetime format and tell them to enter their to input their value again. Else, if it is a correct datetime format, what if it is a correct datetime format, we should assign the value out to this due date and then break out of the loop and continue the program. So if we run this, if we run this, let's run this and see. Let's run this and see. So let's see how it goes. So it's actually so we have a build error. What's the build error? Where's the build error coming from? Okay, let me close. I think I have one open there. So let me close that and relaunch it. Yeah, so one enter testing due date. Let's enter an invalid. You can see has prompt us to you can see it says incorrect date time value. Kindly input your value in this format and then prompt us to enter it again. If you still enter it in the incorrect way, it will still come back again. So while we are yet to enter the correct value, it will continue to prompt the else statement telling us we've entered an incorrect value. So again, until we now enter, so let's enter this example of the example I state here. So 0110, you can see it accepts it, so it's go back to the first initial thing we can enter, which is the title. So now we have solved the issue of incorrect date time value. So we've solved the issue of incorrect date time value. So now uh so what else do we need to do here? So next, let me just paste because I don't like the way everything is together. Let me just paste. So after inputting this CW, so after imputing this, we just have to space. Let's paste it using. Yeah. So let's just paste it. Let me just paste it here. So what I'm just doing is to space. So if I launch this guy, you'll see I'm just pasting testing. You can see. So I'm spacing it after each input. I'm just spacing so that I can see what I'm entering very well, and everything will not be jam packed together. So that's just what I did. You can see. So just trying to space it. Yeah, so now let's move on to what's the next item here that we can. Oh, priority level. So priority level 2 is we will do this the same way we validated this time here. Is the way almost is the same way we also validate the priority level. So almost the same. So enter priority level. Almost we will do almost the same validation for the two. So priority level. So priority level. So instead of using datetime dot value out, I'll be using um priority. So I'll just do using because I have to call the class where the thing where the date that where the priority resides. The priority is not inside this place, it's inside this to-do list class. So I have to just make use of the using statement for me to be able to have access to it. So you can see. So for me to be able to have access to the priority, because the priority resides in where this particular place. So for me to be able to have access to it, I have to just call it, making use of the using statement. So it will now be priority equals priority value out. Let me just use it like that. Priority value out, because I already use value out. So if I use value out again, it will tell me a local variable something something. So a local variable or function name for priority is already defined in this scope. So you can't use the same variable. You can't use the same variable name for two different things. So priority out. So all we just is almost the same thing with this. So let me just copy this. Just have to edit something. So while true, instead of using datetime dot try pass, I'll be using priority dot what dot try pass. So if the user inputs anything apart from what we define here, it will prompt the user to do what, that it will tell the user that, oh, they've input an incorrect priority, that they should what that they should enter the correct one. Then we tell them they can either enter high, medium, or low. So if they enter anything apart from high, medium, or low, it will tell them no, you can't enter this because it is not among the defined priority value. So instead of value out, it will be priority value out, and then instead of assigning value out to the priority, so now be to do dot what priority level. So and then I'm assigning. So if I'm able to pass it out as priority level, as this priority, then I should assign it to the priority level in the T. So T. So once we try pass whatever the user input here, T level, and then we assign it to the priority level T, and then we break out of the loop. Else we should say incorrect priority priority level. Correct priority level. Kindly enter either high, low, or medium. So then we prompt them to what, to enter priority level again. So yeah, so if we launch this now, so what we just do basically here is, after they've validated their due date and then it comes to priority level, we prompt them to enter priority level. So if they input anything apart from what we've defined, apart from the value we've defined inside the priority level, it will try pass it. If it was able to break out of the loop, else it will just come down and tell them they've entered. Let's run it. And see. So one, right, enter value, enter title. Let me just enter this due dates. Can see incorrect due date format. Enter due date. So let's enter the right due date format, which is 0110. Enter priority level. So if you enter anything apart from, you can see incorrect priority level, kindly enter either high, low, or medium. You can see. So it will keep telling you until you enter the correct, even though you enter space, it will tell you correct priority level. So if you enter high now, you see it will accept it. You can see it has accepted it, and then it has prompted the next thing to enter. So now we've solved the issue of, we've actually passed the priority level. Now we have, what's the next item? Okay, completed. So when adding a to-do list, is it possible to add a task that has been completed already? Yeah, I think it's actually possible to add a task that has been completed already. So let's say you've completed some tasks and then you still want to keep track of them to know, okay, if I've completed it or not. So you've completed it and you have some ones that you have not completed and you want to enter, okay, you can basically enter the ones that you have completed and say, okay, yes, completed, completed status is yes or true. Yeah. So we can allow the user to input either it has been completed or it has not been completed, instead of just marking it as uncompleted and then telling them to go and edit it. So let's just say they can input either completed or not completed at the time they are creating the to-do list. Um now completed here is a boolean value. Is either it is true or false, is either it is yes or no. So when you are creating your to-do, is that you've completed it or you've not completed it. So how do we validate, or how do we do the validation for whatever the user input? So I'll be restricting this completed validation to yes or no. Yes or no. So if you've completed it, yes. If you've not completed it, no. If you enter anything apart from yes or no, the system will flag it and tell you incorrect completed status, either yes or no. So let's do that. Let's do that. It will still almost be the same way we've been doing these, but let's see. Let's see. Let's see how we go. So enter completed status. So yeah, we have completed status. I think the English is correct. Enter completed status. Yeah. So here I will be. What I'll be doing here is I need to what? So I won't be using try pass basically. Obviously, I won't be using try pass because I want the user to be able to input either yes or no. So if they input anything rather from yes or no, it will flag it. So what I would do is what I would just do is so I will have a string here. I will name it completed status. So I'll have a string here and then I'll use to accept the input from the user. So after accepting the input from the user, what do I need to do? I'll have a while loop, right? I'll have a while loop and also just say true in here. I'll have a while loop, and in the while loop, what am I going to do? I'll have an if statement, if else statement, right? Basically, if and else statement, basically. So what am I going to do in the if statement? So I'll say if this completed status, if what the user inputs, this completed status is holding the user's input, right? If what the user inputs dot to lower, because I want the user to be either the user input capital yes, lower yes, or first letter capital, second letter lower. I don't anyway, anyhow they want to input it. Just make sure the yes is yes. So if completed status dot to lower equals yes. So anyhow they want to input it, if they like the input capital yes, if they like the input lower yes, if they like the input yes like this, if they like the input yes like this, capital small, converting everything back to lower, because whatever the input I'll just convert it back to lowercase and compare it with the lowercase format. So if the input if what they input, if the computer status they input is what is yes, it is equals yes, then I will just do this to do a sorry to do dot, where is it, completed. It is a boolean value, right? Completed, right, is a boolean value, equals to what? Equals to true. You can see equals to true. That means they've completed the to do. So let's say they've not completed the to do. I'll just say else if, that means an else if statement. So I said at the beginning of this video, I said we'll be using basically everything. We might not use, the only thing we might not use here is for loop, but we are still going to use for each loop. But we might not use for loop. but we are going to use for each loop definitely. So let's just see how it goes, and we might still use for loop, but let's see. So I said we will use basically everything. I've used boolean, I've used bool, I've used enum, even though enum was not part of what we learnt in the previous video, but I already explained how enum works. I've used basically almost everything we've talked about. I've used lists, or okay, we are yet to make use of the list, but let's move on. You can see the add method is getting long and long. All the methods we were creating in the previous video was just a simple method, and you can see what this is doing is becoming long and long. So let's just continue. So else if, let me copy this guy. Uh, let me copy this guy. So else if whatever the input is no. So you do what? We set it to false. That means it has not been completed yet. Oh, false. Oh, sorry, sir. False. So the input, whatever the input is false, that means it's not been completed yet. Then very necessary, we have to break out of the loop. Before I forget, you have to break out of the loop. We have to break out of the loop. So now, if there there is an issue with this, basically, but I will explain where the issue is later. So else can just say something like this. There's an issue with it, but I will show us later. Incorrect completed state. Sorry, I think I oh incorrect completed status. Kindly enter either yes. Anyhow you want to enter the yes, either yes or no. If you like, put capital letter. If you like, put small letter. We are converting it back for you. So what we are trying to do is to build an error-free application. An application that even though the user inputs something that they are not supposed to input, we make sure we capture it without the application breaking. Imagine you want to make use of an application now, and then because they did not do a proper validation, and then you just input something, and then the app on your phone just closed, all because of uncaptured or uncaught exception. So we have to make sure we build an application that even though the user inputs rubbish, still capture it and let them know this is not supported, input the right thing. So the main reason I said that the reason why this will not work, I will show us later. But I will launch this and then we will see that there is an error with it. Let me just launch it so we see the error there. So if we enter the correct statement, either yes or no, there won't be error. By the point where the user inputs something that is not yes or no, that is where the error will come from. So this due date, sorry, 2025 0110. Enter priority level. Oh, sorry. Yes, I know. Sorry. So enter completed status. So now this is so if I actually input the right stuff here, there won't be error. You can see there is no error. But when I input the wrong thing, if I input the wrong thing, priority level high. So if I input the wrong thing, you can see So we will run into an what? Into an infinite loop. So I said if I enter the correct thing, there won't be error. But if I enter the wrong thing, there will be error. I've seen the errors. I just want us to see it ourselves so that we can be more careful while dealing with condition or while building application. You just have to be more careful. So how do we resolve the issue? So now in this else statement, there is nothing that can so in this else statement, there is nowhere the user will impute a new value they want to impute if they enter the wrong thing. No, the reason in the previous one we've done for priority, for um due dates, there is the console.read line is inside this if statement. So until they input the right thing here, it will keep prompting them to do what? To enter a new value because we have the read line inside this place, inside this if statement. You can see if if it is unable to pass it as a correct value, it will show this and then prompt them to do what? To go back again and input it. But this one, we have the read line outside the while loop. This one is inside the while loop. So it will still continue to prompt them to enter the new value. But this one, we have the read statement outside the while loop. We have the read statement where outside the while loop. So it will it's there is no once they input this one, there's no other place for them to impute a new value in the while loop. It will just continue to run into an infinite loop, infinite loop, infinite loop, infinite loop. So that is that for that. So how do we solve this issue? So let's see if we bring this guy in here, if the issue will be solved. Let's see. Let's see. So we enter the value, we enter the description, we enter the due date 0110, we enter the priority level I, we enter status, completed status. So you can see incorrect completed status, kindly enter okay either yes or no. So if you still enter something that is not yes, you still you incorrect completed status, kindly enter either yes or no. So you can see. So there is here now we already have what we keep bringing them, what we keep giving them the opportunity to enter a new value. But if we put it outside the while loop, once this guy runs like this, it will just run into an infinite loop because there's no other place they can input a new value. So once it gets here, and then all these conditions are yet to be met, it does not break out of the loop. It will just come back to the loop again, come back to this loop again, where they will now do what? It will come back to the top. Once it gets to this else statement, it's display this guy. It will come back to yes, no. If it is not equal, if it is not equals to yes, is it equals to no? If it is equals to yes, is it equals to no? If it is not equals to no, if it is not equals to no. Display this no. Now enter the correct value to now the correct value to now check okay value to now check okay it is correct. Now break out of the loop. Because if it is not correct, it will just come check again. Is it correct? Display this. Go to the top again. Check again. Is it correct? Display this. Go to the top again until they enter a correct stuff. So you can see until they enter the correct. You can see if they enter, if you enter yes, either way, anyhow you want to enter it, you can see it should actually accept yes. It is not yes. Yes. As yes. As yes. So let's say they say yes. You can see. You can see it accepts it. No matter how you want to put your yes. If you like capital E, smaller y, smaller capital S, we are converting it back to what? To lowercase. So we've actually captured all the possible inputs the user can input. So starting from what? This will be managed automatically by itself. So starting from title, description, due date, priority level, and completed status, we've accepted the input and done a proper validation. so that the application will not break at any point in time when we are trying to what to create a to-do list. So what do we need to do now? So we've captured everything. Now what we have to do now is to do what? Is to save this particular to-do we are creating at that particular time to the list of to-do, to the to-do list DB we have here, to the to-do list DB we have here. So the main reason why I'm creating this static list at the top is because I want it to be able to be accessible for any method I'll be creating inside this method class. Any method will be able to access it. That is why I'm putting it at the top as a static list at the top, so that any method will be able to access it. So that is that for that. So now what we have to do now is, so after saving after yeah, so we add, after inputting, accepting all the inputs we want to have, we just do to do list db dot add it to the list. So we add it to the list. So add the to do to the list. You can see once we add it to the list, then we can do what? We can break out of the loop. We can break out of the loop. So let's just break out of the loop and see what will happen. So once we add it and we break out of the loop, you'll see we can just do a message so that the user will know that, oh, the to-do has been added successfully. So you can just say, okay, let me add this guy. So after adding, okay, I leave the space here. So let me also leave a space somewhere here. So after adding it, let me just say to do has been added successfully, has been added successfully. So that's been added successfully. So yeah. To do has been added successfully. So yeah, let's see. Let's run it and see. Then we break out of the loop. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. One, enter, enter, enter. Sorry, Judith. 8010110. Priority level I. We've done all the necessary validation, so we can just, you can see to do has been added successfully. Then we break out of the loop and come back to the main menu. We break out of the loop and come back to the what? To the main menu. To the main menu. So now we are back to the main menu where we can either select add a new one, edit an existing one, delete an existing one, view or to do. So it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. So what we just have to do now is, okay, after we are done adding a to-do list, right, and we want to come back to the main menu, we can actually clear all the ones we've imputed at the top. So we clear it and have something like a cleaner interface. So you can do something like this. So instead of doing this, I can just do console.clear. So let's see. Console.clear will actually clear everything we've all the inputs all the things entered we've entered previously. So I also need to input something like enter option because we basically don't have something like enter option, and there is nothing that is indicating or telling the user that, oh, enter your option. Okay, we can actually see that something is blinking, but let's still make it looks more beautiful. Yeah, more beautiful, appealing. So let's say I want to space this. Okay, and I will now have something like enter option. So if I have this, so let it learn so you can see it looks more okay, as in perfect. So enter option. So you can either enter one, let's say enter one. Ah, let's leave space. Let's leave space. I want it to be cool. So enter one. Let me put it here, Sha. Let me put it here. Let me put it here. So enter one. You can see. Oh, looks more clean. More clean. More clean. Sorry. 2025 0110. Everything looks more clean. More clean. More clean. More cleaner. Anyhow. So you can see add, everything is spaced, and yeah, priority level high. Completed status, yes. And then you click on enter. Basically, it's oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing to tell us. Yeah, there's a mistake down here. So I have to bring this guy back here. I don't want to put this guy at the top again. Come back here. Come back here. Come back here. So there's a mistake here. So the mistake here now is what? I clear all before displaying this guy, which is not supposed to be. I've clear. So this clear will not actually display this a successful message. It won't. It won't display the successful message. So I have to first come down here and clear first, and now display the successful message, and now add something like maybe this. This will look more okay. Yeah. So enter one, enter title, enter description, enter due date. 2025 0110, priority level high, completed status yes. Let me do YES. You can see to do has been added successfully. So that has been added successfully. So you can see, so we've added it, and then we are back to the main menu to either view, add new one, edit, delete, or exit the application. So or exit the application. So we also have to, one thing we also have to take care of is if you enter a no an option that is not among 1 to 5, or you enter something like 55, this is still telling you. So there should be an error prompt that if you enter anything that is not within the available option here, to just tell you you've entered incorrect. So because we have a case one and we also have something called default. You should also have something called default. So the default now is, we can say incorrect option. Incorrect option or something like that, and then we also break out of the default. So if you enter something that is not among the available options now, instead of so if you enter something that is not among the available options now, instead of it to do what, instead of it to keep bringing that back, it will just tell you incorrect option. But there might still be issue with this that I've just done here. So let's see, we fix the issue together. Let's see, let it load. let it load. Basically, oh, we have this guy open. Let me close this. Yeah, so let's relaunch. So there might still be issue. Incorrect option. Oh, okay, we already tell them incorrect option. Now input the correct option. So instead of how will I say it? Instead of just not showing anything. So if you enter something like this, instead of not just showing anything, like they won't know if they entered an incorrect option or not, like the ones we have before. Now they already see incorrect option, then they know they've imputed incorrect option. So what we have to do now is just to do to clear it to the top. So if they entered an incorrect option, so you can just do console dot clear. So we clear all the logs. Console dot clear. So we clear the console. So now if you enter incorrect option, you see incorrect option, incorrect option, incorrect option, incorrect option, incorrect option. You can see. So what but once they enter what the correct option, you do what? It moves to the next. So now what we have to do now is okay, once they enter head to here now, we want to clear everything here and then now tell them show something like adding new to do or add new to do, something like that. I don't want this video. I should just focus on more on the narrative. This video is getting more long. It's getting longer, so I really don't want the video to be that long. So add new to do. So I don't want the video to be that long. I will just so I don't want the video to be that long. Something like this. Just want us to have a clean and clear program. So if I click on one, you can see add new to do. So we know we are adding a new to do. So it's just trying to make everything look nice and everything. So we've actually added a to do. We've added a to do. So next thing is to edit a to do, delete a to do. But I'll first go to view a to do. Let's view a to do before we can actually edit a to do or delete a to do. We will know how to view the to do. So let's do view first before moving to edit or delete. So I think view is for so view what to do. So I'll have to come down in here and create a view to do method. Create a view to do method. So it should be like view to do list. So since I'm having my static list here as an in-memory DB, I don't need to be passing it down from the program class. So everything I need is inside this method. I don't need to pass anything to it. Yeah, so that's that for that. So to view our to do now, what do we need to do? We need to either create a table. For us to view, we need to either say, okay, we want to view in a table format, or we want to view in just, I don't know, we want to view in just normal format. I would like, let's do table. Let's do table. So for it to be more, because yeah, even though we want to, if you are making use of your website, it will also be in the table format. So let's do table. Let's do table. So one thing to add here first. I guess I have my clear method. Is the clear? Okay, so view to do. So you can see view to do here. So me just put that. So now it will clear off everything and we have a clean slate. So what I would do here now is I don't know, let me do this. I'll just do a small table design here. I'll do a small table design. Let's just see. Okay, let's see. No, 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 no. Not this. Not that. Not that. Okay. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let me just do this. I don't want to count. Say I'm counting. I don't want to count. Yeah, so pending. And also something like this down here. And also now do something like this. Say available to do to do is it to do list or to do item? Anyhow, to do list, to do item. Let's see. Let me break this into two. Is this two equal lengths? Hey. Let me remove one from this side, one from this side, one from this side, one from this side. Yeah, I tried. Hey, where is this one? So, uh, manage my table, please. Manage my table, please. So let me say I will now give a space. So I want to leave a space between this. So what else do I need to do? So this will be the header, the heading. Yeah, the heading. Basically, it will be the heading of the. So if I say I want to add space here, I will remove one here. Then we are good to go. So what else do I need to do? So for me to be able to display um a to do, so I must check if we have any item in the database first. Let's see if we have any to do list first. Do we even have any to do list in the DB in our memory database that we are using? Do we have any available to do list? So if to do list dot any, so that means you can either do it. We can do this. So if to do list dot any, that means if there is any to do list there, if there is any, it should go. But this means if there is no to do list available. So if there is no to do list available, not this means not in programming language. This is it question mark sign or exclamation mark sign means not. So you can see prefer comparing count to zero rather than using any, both for clarity and performance. Prefer comparing. So that's what I wanted to say. So this means if there is no available to do list, this is a way. And you can also say dot count for anyone like still good equals to zero. I'll use the two and show us so we can see. So now let me use this first. So I will just say console dot write line. Sorry. So I'll just say console dot write line, and then what do I want to display if there is no available to do list? I will just say you do not have any available to do You do not have any available to do lists. Basically, you do not have any available to do lists. And then yeah, so just that you do not have any available to do list. Else, what should happen? So let's even test these ones we've done safe, or no, let me just complete the let me just complete the method. So but if there is available to do list, what should we display? Assuming there's an available to do list, what should we display? So if there's any available to do list, we just do what? Let me construct the table, something like this table I did here. Something like this table I did here. Let me see how. So I would say, we're having ID. So let me just say I'll be displaying the ID together with it. So I'll be counting this guy now. So for me to display ID, let me use this at the beginning. I'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Break. So this will represent ID. This first column I did here will represent what? Will represent ID. So for title, I'll use 20 hyphen to because for title, enough space for title. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So this is index 0, index 1, but don't worry, we'll get there. Let me just continue first. For description 2, let me say 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So for uh due date, eh, due due date, can I maintain 20 for due date too? Due date should not be that long. Just maintain 20 for due date too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 for due date to, oh, this thing I did here will not actually work. So I'm doing 5, 20, 20, 20. So title, description, due date. I have priority level, and I have basically complete completed status. So sorry, I have to do something more. So for priority level, I'll do 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's basically 22 for this. That's for priority level. Also completed status. I'm doing 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I don't need all this. This is too much. So now, what I need to do here now is represent this guy. So let's say ID. So after the ID, what else do I need? I need, what's the title? Title. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let it move. Let it move. Let it move. So again, after that, I need what else? I need description. Description. And also after that, I need something like I need due dates, due dates. Tells after due dates, I need priority level. So basically priority level. So that's and after priority level I need completed status. So completed no completed status. And then I have it. So that's for that. So now I also have to close it down here too. So I've defined everything I need here. Title, description, due date, priority, completed status. I've basically defined everything I need here. I just have to also close it, close it, close it. Oh, okay, I have to, sorry. So close it and close it. So that's that for that. So I also need this to also match, this at the top to also match with this guy. So I'll just do this until it meets with the length of, so it's actually more than that. So I guess we are on the same, no, we're on the same level now. So just do to meet up with this on the same level. Let's say this, this. Don't have time to be arranging because of the, I don't want the video to be too long. Yeah, so we've done that. What else? What else do we need to do? Now we now need to, so all these are just the headers, the headers. Now the content that will be inside the table. I told us we'll be making use of what, of for each loop. So we make use of for each loop. So we can also make use of for loop. Basically, we can make use of for loop basically, but I would just say we should use for each loop. Let's use for each loop. For loop can also do it. I prefer for each loop. So I'll be saying for each var item in what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. Oh, so what's happening? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's just in to do list DB. So one, I need to now do what to display the item. So I already have access to each item in the list. You can see a list. I already have the access to each item. So how do I display the? Okay, so let me first start with this CW. This. So I said ID is at index 0, title is at index 1. I'll be using index to actually display the value in the table perfectly. ID is at index 0, title is at index 1, description is at index 2, due date 3, priority 4, completed status 5. So I'm starting with this. So for it to fit in into the table appropriately in the way it's supposed to do it, so in the way it's supposed to be, so I'll just do this, just string manipulation or string interpolation or however you want to put string literals, yeah. So string manipulation, string literals, say string literals, okay. 0. So index 0, what I'm basically saying is at index 0 is having what, 5 hyphens. That was why I was counting the hyphen I was doing. at the beginning of what of the when I was declaring the table. So that's why I was counting the hyphen to know the number of hyphen I put in each column. So index 0 is what having what 5 hyphen, right? So close it. So now the next one, index 1. Index 1 is having how many hyphens? 20 hyphens. Close it. Same thing with index 2, same thing with index 3. Let me just do a copy. I'll just so same thing with all the rest are having the same number of hyphens. So H2 is at index 1, it's having 20. Description is at index 2, having what 20. Due date index 3 having 20. Priority level index 4 having 20. Sorry, index 3. Index 4 having 20. And also completed status index 5 having 20. Having 20. Then so we've done this. What we need to now do next is how do we represent our ID, the number of items we have, the ID, the serial number. The serial number. So I'll just do something like this. I'll do something like this. Let me just represent the ID here. So index is equals to I'll just say let me just do this to do list dot index of index of this particular item. Index of the particular item you are looking through at that particular time. So if the index is at index 1, index of this particular item we are looking through at that particular time. So index of the particular item. So this will get us the index of this particular item we are looking through at that particular time. You can see the particular item we are looking through at the particular time. So get us the index. Then we can display it here and say the index of it will start from basically index 0, right? Start from index 0. So I'll now say index of plus 1. So if it is starting from index 0, it will just represent it to index 0 plus 1. So we know the ID is 1. Something like that. So mm, then this will serve as the ID to replace the actual value in this particular place. So that is that for that. So the next thing is now to do is item dot title, comma, item dot description. You can see this format. You can see the way write the text representation of the specific object followed by the current line terminator to the standard output stream using the specific format information. So basically that's just what we are doing. So item dot description due date, item dot priority level, item dot completed status. So that is that for that. So this completed status now, before I forget. So the completed status is a boolean value. It's a boolean value, and we want to display either yes or no. We are telling the user to input either yes or no. So it won't be proper if we are displaying true or false to them, because we are telling them to input either yes or no. But at the back we know it is a boolean value, either true or false. So for us to be able to display yes or no in the column for completed status, you just have to make use of the ternary. So ternary is just like if the completed status is equals to true, then we display yes. So something like if completed status is true, display yes. It's just like an if condition, just like an if statement. So if this completed status, if it is true, display yes. Else, if it is false, display no. So if this completed status is true, display yes. Else, if it is false, display no. So that's just what we have to do for that, and then we are good to go. So now we are what we need to do now is to what is to close this guy at the bottom. So after displaying each item in the to-do list, we have to close the next line. So I'll just do this and do this. We definitely need to close the next line. So that's just that. That's that for that. That's how we display item in our to-do list. So that is all what we need to do, define inside our view to-do list method. So if we launch this guy, so and we say view to-do list for, you can see we have, we do not have, oh yeah, so this is, we have error here. You have error here, you do not have any available to-do list. Yeah, so so we have to format this properly. We have to format this properly. So if we do not have any available to-do list, it should just tell us we do not have any available to-do list. We don't need to get to this part. We need to get to this part of displaying this table. Yeah, so what we need to do now is is it proper to make use of a return? You just need to leave this particular place, this particular. So if I say return, it's not a proper statement because we are actually not returning anything. I just want to break out of this particular. So let's use return. Let's see. Just want to break out. I don't want it to get to this particular place, to this down part. So let's see how it goes. This might not load. This might not load. Oh, already closed the cursor. Yeah. So let's say 4. You can see. So tell us you do not have any available to-do list. So basically, even before we do that, I would like us to clear. Let's say I want to clear this. Let's just format it well. So it will just return immediately, return back to the main menu without it getting to this part of displaying the table. So I guess it's of a safer side there. So for, you can see you do not have any available to-do lists. Sefini, you do not have any available to-do lists. Then I can just say, okay, let me say this to be well formatted. So now we will do something. We will add new to-do list. Let's add new to-do list. So add list, testing to list. So enter due date. Let's see, 2025-01-03. Priority level I. Completed status yes. You can see to do has been added successfully. So now view to do list. I need to remove this guy showing next available option here. At this, yeah, I just need to well format this guy. So you can see this is the first item we've added to the list. You can see we have ID 1, we have title testing, we have description testing to do list. You can see it is well formatted within the table because of the string literal, because of all what we did for the table. For the table, you can see it is well formatted in between the table. No, you can see it looks pretty good. You can see available to do list. You can see ID one testing, title testing, description testing, to do list, due date, priority level high, completed status yes. So this is pretty good. We just need to format this guy. So once we close this, everything will just is an in memory. So it's not holding. The downside or the issue with making use of a list as a in memory database is once you close the application, all what you've added is gone. Once you stop the build, save everything you've added is no longer there because it's just an in memory. So once you stop the application or you close the project or you stop the, everything is gone. You have to add from the beginning again. So that's just the downside of using list as an in memory. So basically that is that for that. That is that for that. So I just say let me just put it here. Let me do this. So I'll now do sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I had to do this. No. It should actually be here. What am I doing? I wanted to. Oh, sorry. This is what I wanted to remove. To put it at the top. Now have it. Let's say somewhere on. So add to do list has its own how will I put it? So add to do list has its own header. So view also had its own header and every other thing. So let's see. The issue with that now is yeah, you don't have any to do, you don't have any to do. But now add has its own header, view at it add its own have its own header. Sorry. Just delete this guy. I should computer status, yes. So now if you want to view, you can see. Then yeah, we have this. So that's just that for that. So we have the view method. This video is getting too long. Let me see how I can just cut it and make it short. So make it short. Let me just be fast with every other. I think the key we've actually done the key stuff to add to view. What else? Edit and delete. So basically, let me just be fast with the edit and delete. So that's that for that. So moving on to the edit and delete. I don't want the video to be too long. Let me just make it fast. So I'll basically just be doing it and then be explaining. So we won't edit to do. So basically, edit to do is just before you can edit, you have to view the to do you want to what you want to edit. You understand? You have to view the to do you want to edit. So, and for you to view the to do you want to edit, you have to know the ID. You have to know the ID of the to do. You have to know the ID of the to do. So, for us to know the ID of the to do. So, if we say, okay, let's do something like this actually has its own ID, right? This actually has its own ID. So if you say we want to display the ID of the to do itself instead of making use of getting the index and everything, but basically we will still make use of the index too. probably delete. I just want us to do something like this first. Item and see. You always It always be 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 but let's I still want to go straight into the point of editing. Now I have this open because we are dealing with console application basically. That's why it's this stressful because we have to take care of everything ourselves. So I yes view to do can see 0. Even though you add a new one, it will still be 0 because we did not actually cater for the ID and it's an intentional stuff. So it's basically an intentional stuff. So still 0. So I did not cater for it and it's an intentional act. So I'm basically using the index to just want us to show us because we have an ID there, right? But I intentionally did not make use of it. I can basically remove it because it's not needed. I just kept it there. So using the index to manipulate anything I want to manipulate or do anything I want to do. So that is that for that. So edit to do now. For us to be able to edit a to do, we have to know the ID of the to do we want to edit. Basically, yes. So how do we go about it? Let's say let me just copy something here. So uh let's say let me put it here. Enter to do ID. Enter to do ID. So and then we have so basically I'll be putting the read line in here. So I'll be using something like let me just copy this guy. Why is this guy coming down? So let me increase the font. So I'll be using something like this. So mm, so read line. So to do ID. So what I will do now is I'll have to check if the ID this person imputed is among the available to do we have. So for me to do that, I will do something like if statement, if okay, sorry, let me plug this. So I'll have to do a check. If statement, let me just plug this guy. Yeah, so before I even do that, before I do that, I'll have to first get so over to do exist. So here is where we'll be making use of LINQ query, which we did in the previous video. The language integrated query we did in the previous video. So this is where we'll actually be making use of it. So is equals to um dot yes. So the issue with this now is I hmm dot I think we have a method to actually get ID is the ID is actually not functioning. Is actually returning what for me? Is it returning? Yeah, it's actually returning int. No. So actually trying to see if I can see any method I can use to so the so another thing I can actually it will have been easier if actually make use of the ID in here, making use of the ID here. So what I should have just done here is because assuming it is DB, I want the automatically to be increasing the ID by itself. But what I should have done here is like do something like this, like var last item is equals to something like this. Last or default, which is the very last item in the list. Then after getting the last item, I can now say to do so it's something that will not even be visible to the user at all, like to do dot id is equals to last item dot id plus 1, something like this. So if the last item is not null, it should do because even with this, if the last item is null, that means I'll have to do an if condition. If the last item is not equals to null, then do this. Else, you should just do something like dot id is equal to 1, something like this. So if I do this and I obviously go back to this place and just put this guy, this guy id, it will work perfectly. Wait, what is happening? I'm having build error. Sorry, I'm doing something here that I'm yet to complete. So I have to do this and yeah, continue. So let's say add title this 0 and 0 to I yes, and then let me just add new one. So let me view first for you can see we have one. I'm no longer making use of the index, right? I'm making use of the ID now because I notice I'm making use of the ID. So because it will be easier for us to get an item with an ID when we want to edit and delete, not to complicate things. It will be very easy making use of the LINQ query we did in the previous video, right? So I just want us to make use of everything we've learned so far to achieve this. So make use of the ID, you can easily use LINQ query. So that's why I just do Okay, let me get the last item, get the ID of the last item and add 1 to it. And if there's no any last item, assign 1 to the value. So that's for that. So if you come down here again and add new to-do list, and then you say 2025 0109, yeah, I yes, and you click on view, you will see two. So if you delete anyone and then you view, you will see the last item. It will work perfectly. So don't worry when we get to delete part. So I believe with this now we will be able to achieve our edit perfectly. So let's go back to it. I don't want to make that last index, since we have to keep track of the ID, because in the real-time application, real-time real world application, we have to make use the ID to fetch whatever one. So you say dot where or dot first or default, where x dot id equals to do. Yeah, so now we also have to do what? We won't be able to use this because this is a string onto int. So what we have to do now is user input. So let me just do this. Input or to do ID. Let me just say to do ID too. So you have to do something like all the validation, just like the validation we did for date time, all this one here. Try pass. We also have to do something like that for this, because we are accepting the input as string. We have to be able to pass it out as int, so that when the user inputs something like alphabet, we reject it and say let them input the right ID. So something like that. So we have to just do int out to do ID, something like that. So and say, let me just say try. Sorry, if so if try if int dot try pass, then we have the, or we even say let them input it directly from here anyhow. I have to actually key hold it. So let me just do this. Int dot try pass and then out to this guy. Or if I can even actually do this, let's do this. Oh, it will not actually work. So I have to do something like declare that. So let me just do this. That will not work. So let me do this. So out. So if I'm able to pass it out as what? As to do ID, out as to do ID, then basically all I need to do will now be inside this if statement. So I can then do something like this. So I know what the value I'm getting here is an integer. So else, if this is not, if you're unable to pass this out, we are just copy the else statement. Something like this I did here. So something like that. Just passing this and say incorrect, no, or yeah, incorrect to do ID. So that's kindly enter correct ID, something like that. Probably something like that. So I just say enter to do ID, and then there will be prompt to enter the ID back at the top. So enter to do ID basically. So that is that for that. So once they are prompted to enter the correct ID, they you come back here and then try out again, try pass again until they now get it before they now continue. So if you take care of the error. So what we now have to do is, if this guy is not equals to null, if the ID they input is not equals to null, because they can enter the incorrect to do ID format, because format, kindly enter the correct ID format, something like that. Let's just use that English. Yeah, so now they can input the correct ID format and the ID does not exist in the, or there's no to-do list with that ID. So we have to still do a check. So we have to still say something like else again and say to do not found. Kindly enter correct to do ID. So to do not found, kindly enter correct to do ID. Enter to do ID. So that for that. And then if the to do is now found, if it is not equals to null, what should now happen? Then we can now allow them to edit. So obviously I'll just copy all what we have here. Basically you cannot edit the ID. So I'll just obviously allow them. I'll just copy all what we have here and do the same validation. So all what I just need to do is updated successfully. So all what I need to do is, it will no longer be to do, it will be to do exists. To do exists, because it's an existing to do. So to do exists, new value. To do exists. We've done all the validation before to prevent them from doing. So to do exists. To do exists. So that's that for that. So I don't know if there's anything like updates here. Hmm. So hmm. So append. What does append means? Append the value to the end of the sequence. No, 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 no. There's nothing like update. I'm thinking of DB database context. So uh okay. So because if I do add, it will, so if I do this will not actually work. If I do add, it's like adding a new item to the existing. But let's see. But I know it won't work. I know it won't work. But let's see. Then you break out of the loop. Let's see. So what I just need to do is, I already say, so number three is what? Number two is edit. You're almost done. This video is getting too long. Too long. So obviously edit, save. Let me just see. Yeah, so when I'm adding a to do, I added a title. So guess I just need to maintain my title here. Come back here. Let me maintain the title. And now I have something like edit to do. Edit to do. So let's see. Let's see. Let's see. So we have to add, let's input rubbish value first, 2025 0102, priority level I, yes, and let me put no first. So for us to want to view now, you've seen what we've added. I want to view one. So to edit it to do now, you can see enter to do ID. So if you enter something like JJJ to tell us incorrect to do ID format, kindly enter correct ID format. You can see kindly enter correct ID format. Or you now enter something like 0 or something like 9 to tell us to do not found, kindly enter correct to do ID. You can see all our conditions is correct. The only issue now is I'm not sure if the add, that new add method will update it or it will add a new value. So let's see. Um Enter to do ID. You can see. So this is supposed to be enter new title. But we already know that okay, we want to enter the title. I'll just change to enter new title or enter new whatever you want to edit. So enter title. Let me just say new title, new description, due date 225/01/01. I let me say medium. Yes, you can see to do has been updated successfully. But the issue now is, does it really update it or it added it as a new item? You will know now. So, voila. So, you see, will I say it's update? It's actually updated it and still added it as a new what? As a new item. So it updated it and added it as what? As a new item. So what we need to do is when we are updating, the issue is when we are updating, we don't need to. So I was thinking of it in the database context because when we have a repository, we already have an update and then we just pass in the identity and then it will update it. So I'm looking at it from the database perspective. That was why I did something like this. So actually, update does not really need this. As we are assigning a new value to it, it is already updating it because we are actually using an in-memory DB, which is a list. We are making use of a list. So as you an existing list, as you are assigning a new value to an existing list, it is already updating. You don't have to make use of any list dot update or list dot add. List dot add we add it as a new value. It will update it and still add it as a new value again. So that is why we are having that error. That's new having two items there. So basically we don't need to what? We don't need to um to add or make use of any add update again because as we are assigning a new value, it is already updating. As we are assigning a new value, it is already updating. As we are assigning a new value, it's already updated. So all we just have to do here is enter new title, enter new. So we know we are editing description, enter new due date, enter new priority level, enter new completed status. Then we are good to go. We are good to go. So I will do this. So this one I'll first input rubbish. Sorry, I'll first input 2025 01 I no okay I already inputted I and no. So if I view this, I see I have this. I'll add new one with an actual value cook cooking 2025 01/03 I yes. So you can see I have This very first one is the random characters that I entered, and you can see. So now, what do we need to do? Uh, we only need to do what? So to edit now, I'll edit this very first number one to what? To reading. To read reading. The title to read reading, and change the due date to 0303, and then change the status to what? To yes. Complete status to yes. So I will do edit now, which is two for edit. So enter to do items. The ID is 1. So new title, read. New description, reading. Priority due date 2025 0103 I and yes. You can see to do has been updated successfully. So if you view now, you will see here we've updated it successfully. So when updating, making use of it, I assume it is normal DB context. Now we have to actually update it real time. Send a request to the DB to update it. But since we are using list, and list is an in memory, so as you are assigning a new value to an existing item in a list, it has already updated it. As you are assigning a new value, it is updating it. So that is that. For that, so we've done add, we've done edit, we've done view, remains, delete. So this video is already too long, but I believe it's actually worth it. It's actually worth it. So now is high time we work on delete. So delete is pretty will I say pretty, it's pretty straightforward. So so um I'll just say delete. Let me just do this down here and say delete. Uh yeah, so delete. So what do we need to do when we want to delete a record from a list? Because there isn't obviously there isn't a list as our database. So what do we need to do if we want to delete? Almost the same thing like the edit we did here. We will just do almost the same thing with the edit. Almost the same thing with the edit. I should have just copied everything in this guy. So I'll just edit some things. Yeah, so almost the same thing with what I'll just do is I'll just change this to delete, enter to do ID. So delete. Let's just say to edit. Well, anyhow, to delete. So obviously, to do ID, we pass it out to confirm if it is a correct ID format. If it is not a correct ID format, tell them to do this. But if it does not exist, if it's not equals to null, then we delete. But if it is equals to null, we say um, obviously say to do not found. Kindly enter the correct ID to do ID. So basically, enter new item. We don't need all this. We don't need all this. We don't need all this. So so this is just what we need in the delete section. This is just what we need. So the delete now is if it is not equals to null, we just do what? We just say it's very simple and very straight. Remove. It's very, very simple and very straight. That is that for delete. You don't need long method, you don't need just call the DB, call the to-do list DB, and then make use of the remove method, and then you pass in the whatever you want to remove, and then you are good to go. That's that for that. That is that for that. So we have to test it. Let's test it. We'll add two items. So you say start from reading 2025 01 03 I yes, add another one, enter title, cook, cooking 2025 01 03 I yes. So for yeah, so you can see read, cook, and then you can decide to delete. So let's say you want to delete. Delete is what? Who? We are yet to pass in. We are yet to pass in the method for delete. Incorrect option. Incorrect option. Correct option. We are yet to pass in the method for delete. Let me just put it. So now we have to pass in because we don't have delete here now. We have to say delete 3 to be delete. So we have to say 3 to be delete. So I believe if I explained I explained switch case in the previous video. But switch case is just like a if statement. We can still use if statement to actually achieve this. We can use if statements to achieve this. We can basically use if statements to achieve this. Just like using an if statement too. So it's just a conditional statement. It's part of the conditional statement. So just remember it now, sir. So 3 is what? 3 is delete. So I just have to call the delete method. So let's run it. Let's run it. This video is long enough. It's too long. So one reading 2025 01 03 yes I and yes. So add new one, enter title, cooking 2025 01 03 I yes, and for view. So we have read and cook. So that's for that. Now what do we need to do? 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 So to delete, click on 3. Let's delete the first one, which is read. Yeah, read. Let's delete read. So if you enter another ID, incorrect format to do not found. Yeah. So if you enter one, hey, I did not say to do deleted successfully. Obviously, it has deleted it. Has deleted it. Sorry, it has deleted it. But there was no message. I didn't pass in any message to show us that it has actually deleted it, but it has deleted it. So if I say 3 delete and then I just say 2, it's just that there is no message that has been shows that it has been deleted successfully. So need to pass in message. Need to just pass in message to know that yeah, it has been deleted successfully. Deleted successfully. Then we're good to go. Then okay, one more thing. So can test it together. So I want us to format this due date. I don't want the time to be showing. I'll just say dot to string and do the proper formatting. So I can say day, month, year, day, month, year. So to format it day, month, and year. So let's just format it like that. So now it won't be showing the time at the back again. It only show the date. So let's do this. Let's run it. Let's run it. So one, add reading 2025 01 03 I, yes, add another one, cook cooking 2025 01 03 I, yes, view. You can see as it is now well formatted, no more time at the back, it's just the date, just the date. So now we see we have two. So let's say we want to delete one, three, right? We want to delete three to delete. Now we have enter the ID. If you enter incorrect ID, to tell you. If you enter this one, to tell you it's not found. And then something delete the first one. You can see to do has been deleted successfully. Obviously, we need to we're supposed to clear all this at the top. But I don't know if we clear it. Where is it safe? Where is it safe? Where is it safe? Should have just clear dot clear dot clear dot clear. So basically, if you delete the next one, which is two, you can see to do has been deleted successfully, and then review. You don't have any available to do. So that is that for that. That is that for that. The next thing to do now is just let me just add a random one, 2025 01 03 I, so we have this. So let's say we want to delete three, enter one. You can see to do has been deleted successfully. Then we are back to the main menu, and then we click on view. You don't have any available to do list. So that is that for that. Now the last but not the least is just five, which is to exit. We don't have five yet. Don't have five yet. So five is to what? Is to exit, which is to actually stop the application from running. Obviously, you have to do case five. So all we have to do is just to clear this, remove this. For us to exit the application, just say environment dot exit zero. If you are just passing the exit code as zero, so all we need to do is just to do environment dot exit and pass zero. Then if we launch this, you can see if we hit 5, you can see the application existed. It has exited with code 0. It has exited with code 0, so the application have stopped running. All we have to do is just to close the window. So since 5 is just to stop, is to exit. 5 is to exit, so you just press 5 and then the application will stop running. It's just like you closing your application on your mobile phone. So we've done a lot in this video. We've built a console application. We built a console application for a to-do list console application that has the add functionality, edit functionality, delete functionality, and also view functionality to view all the to-do lists. So if there's any question you have, or if there's anything you do not understand, or you have any question, you can kindly drop them in the comment section. I will attend to each and every question. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to Train Check YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to comment and then subscribe. Turn on the notification icon to get notified anytime we upload new content. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate. See you guys in the next video.